Firstly, I want to thank my dear Imam Usmani for this opportunity to give this khutbah, this sermon to this community, as this is the community that I grew up in, and this is a masjid and a community that is very close to my heart. I am humbled that Imam Sahib has invited me to talk on a topic that will benefit the youth, inshallah. Having said that, my request is to all brothers and sisters that even though I am talking about something that is inshallah beneficial to the young people, this is something that cannot be done without the input of mothers and fathers, aunts and uncles, grandparents, elder siblings, and so on. So everyone has a part to play in the raising of our youth. So I please ask for everyone to pay close attention, and just a quick reminder for everyone to mute their phones, inshallah. What is the topic that I'm going to talk about? I'm going to talk about how to be successful, because that is something that all of us want to be, especially the youth who are thinking about what to do, what to achieve in their life. It is human nature. It's our deepest desire to be successful, to do something that is worthwhile, to do something that is worth our time. And it might be academic. You might be thinking, what do I want to study? It might be financial. You might be thinking, how much money can I make? It might be social. You might be thinking, what is my status in other people's eyes? And of course, you might be thinking about those who depend upon you. Whatever is important to you, you are in your heart of hearts thinking about how you can push forward, how you can be the most successful in that field. So how do we condition our hearts and our desires? How do we take in information and opinions and start planning our own personal roads to success? Because there are so many different places that inform our perspectives on success. One of the most pervasive in our times is obviously social media. Whether it's TikTok or Instagram or YouTube or Snapchat or Twitter or Facebook for those who still use it, or Telegram or WhatsApp, we have to be honest. Social media is everywhere, and social media is full of people who look successful, because we see people who have their flashy cars, they have their flashy homes, they have thousands, maybe even millions of followers who are waiting to see what this person is saying, what they are doing, waiting to emulate them and imitate them. Surely that's what success looks like, having the flashiest of possessions, being the most persuasive of people. But watch these successful people on social media for long enough, and you'll see what's on the other side of that screen. After a few years, every popular person on social media either gets exposed for the life they live, or they burn out and expose themselves. We find out that the flashy and glitzy lifestyle that is being curated, that is being manipulated, that is being showcased selectively for social media is not even a fraction of that person's real life. And this is not just non-Muslim influencers on social media. I am embarrassed to admit that it's many popular Muslims on social media too. So if we want to be successful, should we take our examples from people that we see on social media? Clearly not. And I'm not saying this as if it's an easy thing to do. Social media apps are on our phones, they're in our pockets. It's so easy to access these people. It's so easy to be shaped by the opinions of people we grow close to, people we grow to respect. But we need to keep in mind that anyone who is showing off their success on social media is just trying to deceive you. We should take examples of role models and success from people whose real lives we can understand and analyze. So maybe there's another group of people we can look up to. And it is tempting to look up to business people, people like Elon Musk, people like Jeffrey Bezos. Maybe these are people who have, in the past few decades, in the past few years, attained enough wealth and power to start missions to the moon, even start planning missions to Mars. I mean, they lead companies that are literally going into space. Surely that is a sign of a successful person. Surely that is a sign of someone who is worth emulating. And yet, if you ponder for even a moment, what is the basis of their success? Whereas with social media, the basis of success is living a false life. The basis of successful business people like Elon Musk and Jeffrey Bezos is to build your own success by crushing the lives of others. Let me explain what I mean. Elon Musk's Tesla car manufacturing plants are dangerous places to work, which is obviously a direct risk to people's bodies as well as their livelihoods and their medical care. Even the work that he does, which purports to be for the social good, such as tunneling companies to help speed up traffic and reduce congestion, and so on. These are just overpriced vanity projects that take in public taxpayers' money that actually needs to be spent elsewhere, and instead they're spent on his vanity projects to build up his own personal brand, his own personal prestige as an individual and as an entrepreneur. On top of that, Musk personally is just another business tycoon who links his business interests with foreign policy interests. Let me quickly explain what I mean by this. When the United States organized a coup against a socially responsible government in Bolivia, Elon Musk supported that coup because it would give him cheaper lithium for his electric cars. This is just another man who is interested in his own personal success, and he wants to build it by crushing the lives of others. And Jeffrey Bezos, it's very well known about the conditions that the workers in Amazon warehouses have to endure and the conditions of the Amazon drivers. I personally have friends who have worked there, and I'm certain that some brothers and sisters here might also have family and friends who have heard and experienced these things. But Bezos's fortunes aren't only made by crushing employees, he also crushes competing businesses, which are deliberately undermined and undercut until they go bust. And that has a ripple effect on local businesses and local communities and local high streets that end up closing down, shutting down, emptying, and the entire community then suffers simply because of Amazon's business model. So Jeffrey Bezos is yet another businessman whose individual success is built by crushing the lives of others. Is this a role model for success? So we've looked at a possible definition of success by social media, as defined by social media. We've looked at a possible definition of success as defined by some of the world's most famous businessmen. What is the obvious conclusion? If you want to be successful in terms of social media, you need to live a lie until it destroys your life. If you want to be successful like these powerful businessmen, you need to crush everyone around you. This is not success, brothers and sisters. If you destroy yourself or everyone around you, that is not success. Success on these terms is fleeting. Brothers and sisters, seek a more enduring success. And the most enduring success is the success of the akhirah, the next life. Today, I will just briefly touch on a few examples of success in the akhirah and how that reflects on success in dunya as well. And I will then conclude on how to achieve success overall. Firstly, a hadith from Sunan at-Tirmidhi. It can be translated to mean, the honest and trustworthy merchant will be raised with the prophets, the truthful and the martyrs. In terms of seeking success in the akhirah, being raised alongside the prophets is a high standard. It doesn't get much better than that. So this is a form of success that is really worth reflecting over. So what does it mean to be an honest and trustworthy merchant? Is that something that a Muslim business person can do and achieve all by themselves? No. It's about how that individual interacts with their business partners, but also in terms of how they behave with their employees, how they behave with the taxman, how they react to temptations to be dodgy with money. If a Muslim business person rises above those challenges and is an honest and trustworthy merchant, they have earned this difficult success. And this is something that is based on interactions. This is a type of success that does not destroy the people around you in terms of customers, in terms of employees. This is the exact opposite of the ideology of success of people like Musk and Bezos and so on. This is a type of success that benefits them and everyone they interact with. And so that individual Muslim business person's success becomes the community success. In another hadith in Sunan at-Tirmidhi, the best of you are those who are best to their women. So this again is worth reflecting on. Imagine being the best of humanity, and imagine being told in such a simple way how you can be the best of humanity. And this is it. This is that simple instruction. Be the best to your women. And of course this includes our mothers, our sisters, our wives and our daughters, and so on and so on. Contrast this with the attitude towards success that you see on social media. Contrast this in terms of what you see from successful influencers who are too happy to use the women in their life as props and tools. And if not the women in their life, then the women in their audiences as tools of their personal ambition and drive. But let's return to the hadith. What does it mean to be the best to your women? Firstly, again, it's obviously based on interaction. You can't be the best to your women by living alone in your life. You can only be the best to the women in your life by acknowledging them and accepting them and their needs and their flaws, and despite all of that, strengthening them. That is how a man, that is how a Muslim man is the best to their women. But there's obviously a comparative, you could say a competitive point in this as well linguistically. There isn't a basis in doing the bare minimum. In fact, the basis is to be the best. And that means being better than others in your life in terms of how you treat your women. But the basic point I want to convey is that we have such a simple instruction, such a simple guideline for being the best, for attaining success, and it is rooted in how we interact with others. Again, just like the honest tradesperson, this is rooted in how we interact with each other. I want to give one more example before I come to my conclusion. And this example is on the other side of the coin. It's the opposite example. What do those who are not successful do? What is their type of behavior? And we have an example of this in the Quran in Surah Al-Ma'un. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم أرأيت الذي يكذب بالدين فذلك الذي يدعو اليتيم ولا يحض على طعام المسكين فويل للمصلين الذين هم عن صلاتهم ساهون الذين هم يراءون ويمنعون الماعون. So what has such a person done that they have earned the biggest failure according to this surah? What they have done is that they have shunned the orphan. They have shunned feeding the poor. They are unmindful of their prayers because they just want to show off with them, and they don't want to give even the smallest aid to their brothers and sisters. Brothers and sisters, just reflect for a moment. Is it possible for a Muslim to do good work that benefits only themselves and yet does nothing to benefit those around them? This surah is a warning to us that yes, such a thing is possible. It is possible to seek individual success and sacrifice losing the akhirah because we have shunned opportunities to support our community. And there are many more others, more educated than myself, who can give a much more insightful tafsir into this surah. But the conclusion that I want to draw to and end in this khutbah is a very simple point. Success, whether you look at it Islamically or logically, is not defined by how many others you crush in your individual pursuit for success. An individual is truly successful when the community around them, when the people around them benefit from that person's success. And if you remember nothing else from what I've talked about today, please at least remember this, dear parents, dear uncles and aunts and grandparents and elder siblings. When your youth are trying to define success for their own lives, be open-minded. Let them discover their strengths. Let them use whatever strengths Allah has gifted them, so long as it benefits the community and the people around them. Do not restrict their success with your narrow opinions. Let your youth find their strength. So then it becomes the community's strength. Be patient with them, encourage them. So then once they have discovered their strengths, they know that they should use them for the sake of the Ummah. May Allah forgive my shortcomings in anything I have said. Brothers and sisters, Jazakumullah khairan for your attention.